I had it all. 4 incredible years with Natalie, 8 months of engagement bliss, and our wedding was just 2 weeks away. Everything was perfect. She was my world, my future, and I was absolutely certain nothing could shake what we had built together. Then she went to Miami for her bachelorette weekend with her friends. That Friday night, an unknown number sent me something that destroyed everything I thought I knew about our relationship. One video was all it took to shatter my entire world. If you are watching right now, take a moment to let me know where you are tuning in from, and hit that like and subscribe button while I share how my perfect life crumbled overnight, and what happened next. I should probably introduce myself properly. My name is Solomon, a 32-year-old architect who grew up in a small town in Oregon before moving to Chicago to pursue my career dreams. I was raised in a loving family with supportive parents who have been married for 35 years, and a younger brother, Ryan, who has always been my best friend, despite the usual sibling rivalries growing up. My life in Chicago had been focused on building my architecture practice until I met Natalie at a charity gala 4 years ago. I remember that night so clearly. She wore a deep blue dress that made her eyes sparkle, and when she laughed at something, I said I felt like I had known her my entire life. Our connection was instant and powerful. I managed to get her number, and our first date at this intimate Italian restaurant downtown was magical. The conversation flowed effortlessly for hours, and by the end of the night I knew she was someone special. Our relationship progressed naturally from there. We saw each other several times a week, discovering our shared love for old bookstores, Sunday morning hikes, and trying obscure coffee shops. After a year, we were practically living together anyway, so making it official 18 months in just made sense. We found a beautiful condo with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Natalie, with her eye for design, transformed it into our sanctuary. 6 months after moving in together, we adopted Max, our golden retriever, who instantly became the third member of our little family. Weekends were often spent driving to Michigan for lakeside getaways. Natalie loved the water, and some of my favorite memories are simply watching her standing on the shore at sunset, hair blowing in the breeze as she pointed out shapes in the clouds. Those quiet moments of contentment convinced me that we were meant to build a life together. After 2.5 years together, I knew without doubt that I wanted to marry her. I planned the proposal for months, enlisting help from both our families. On a snowy December evening in Millennium Park with the city lights twinkling around us, I dropped to one knee. I had arranged for our closest friends and family to hide nearby, and after her tearful yes and the ring placement, they all emerged to celebrate. The look of joyful surprise on her face when she saw everyone was almost as beautiful as her acceptance. That night, surrounded by loved ones, I felt like the luckiest man alive. Wedding planning began immediately. Natalie had always dreamed of a summer ceremony, so we set the date for 16 months later, giving us plenty of time to organize everything. Contrary to the stereotype that grooms are disinterested in wedding details, I was involved in every decision. We toured venues together, sampled countless cake flavors, and I actually enjoyed my suit fittings. I wanted everything to be perfect for us. Throughout this time, I grew close with her friends, particularly her maid of honor, Amanda. Amanda had been Natalie's roommate in college, and they had remained inseparable. Then there was her wider circle. Taylor, the elementary school teacher with a contagious laugh. Jessica, the serious accountant who loosened up after exactly 2 drinks. Kimberly, the fitness instructor who was always planning their group workouts. And Lauren, the recently divorced friend who seemed to be living vicariously through Natalie's happiness. I trusted these women and appreciated how they supported our relationship. My own support system was solid too. My best friend and business partner Jackson had been with me through everything from college all-nighters to building our architecture firm. He was to be my best man, and he took the role very seriously, already planning a tasteful bachelor party. With 2 weeks to go before the wedding, nearly everything was finalized. The venue was booked, final dress alterations were complete, and even our honeymoon to Greece was all set. That was when Natalie mentioned her bachelorette party. Unlike my simple bachelor party plans, which involved dinner at my favorite steakhouse with my closest friends, Natalie and her friends had organized a weekend trip to Miami. I had zero concerns about this. After 4 years together, trust was the foundation of our relationship. The night before she left, we had a quiet dinner at home. I remember holding her close before bed, joking about not having too much fun without me. She kissed me deeply and promised to text regularly. Before she left the next morning, I secretly arranged for champagne to be delivered to their hotel suite as a surprise, wanting to contribute to her special weekend, even from afar. As I watched her taxi pull away, I had absolutely no idea that this would be the last normal moment of our relationship. No idea that everything was about to change forever. With Natalie away for the weekend, I had plans to catch up on work and finalize some honeymoon details. The condo felt strangely empty, without her energy filling it, but Max kept me company as I worked from home that Friday. I received a couple of group photos from Natalie after they landed, showing the 5 women posing in their hotel room and later at a beachfront restaurant. Everyone looked happy and excited, and I was genuinely glad Natalie was having this special time with her friends before our wedding. That evening, my brother Ryan, who had flown in early to help with some wedding preparations, came over for dinner. We ordered pizza, had a few beers, and talked about the upcoming ceremony. He would be one of my groomsmen, and his excitement for me was obvious. As we reminisced about our childhood and how neither of us could have imagined where life would take us, I felt a deep contentment. In just 2 weeks, I would be marrying the woman of my dreams. Communication from Natalie was sporadic that evening, which was not concerning initially. A quick text about their dinner, a selfie at a rooftop bar. I told her to have fun and not worry about checking in constantly. After Ryan left around 11, I took Max for his final walk of the night and went to bed, looking forward to catching up with Natalie the next day. Saturday was quiet. I finalized some paperwork for a client project in the morning, and then met with our wedding photographer to go over the shot list for the ceremony. Natalie sent fewer messages than Friday, just a beach photo around noon, and a brief text saying they were having a great time and heading for dinner and dancing later. I replied with love and asked her to send a photo from their night out when she had a chance. That photo never came. Instead, at 11:30 that night, as I was about to head to bed, my phone pinged with a message from an unknown number. The text simply read, "You deserve to know the truth about your fiancé." My first reaction was dismissal. I assumed it was some kind of scam or prank, possibly even a wrong number. I nearly deleted it without responding, but something made me hesitate. Before I could decide what to do, another message arrived from the same number, this time with a video attachment. I clicked play, and my entire world collapsed around me. The video was clearly from that evening, showing a crowded nightclub with flashing lights. The camera focused on Natalie, unmistakable, in the red dress she had packed for the trip and wearing the sparkly bride-to-be sash her friends had given her. She was dancing closely with a muscular man I had never seen before. As I watched in growing horror, they began kissing passionately. The video continued as they moved toward a more secluded area of the club, his hands all over her body, her arms wrapped around his neck. They disappeared into what appeared to be a private room, the timestamp on the video showing it was from just 2 hours earlier. I felt physically ill. My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone. After taking several deep breaths, I picked it up again and rewatched the video, desperately hoping I had somehow misinterpreted what I saw. But there was no mistaking it. The woman I was supposed to marry in 2 weeks was cheating on me at her bachelorette party. I immediately tried calling Natalie. No answer. I sent multiple texts, asking her to call me urgently. Nothing. I called Amanda, knowing she would be with Natalie, but she did not pick up either. My mind raced with possibilities. Maybe it was not what it looked like. Maybe someone was impersonating Natalie. But the dress, the sash, the timestamp, her distinctive diamond tennis bracelet I had given her for our 3rd anniversary, her unmistakable laugh caught briefly on the audio, all confirmed my worst fear. This was real. An hour later, another message from the unknown number. "I have more evidence if you need it." Then a second video arrived, showing Natalie and the same man entering a hotel room different from the one I knew her group was staying in. The video was taken from a distance but clearly showed them kissing again outside the door before entering. The timestamp showed this was taken just 30 minutes earlier. The sender finally identified herself in the next message. "I am Rachel, girlfriend, of the man your fiancé just went to a hotel room with. I followed them because I suspected he was cheating on me. Looks like they are cheating on both of us. I thought you should know." I thanked her for sending the evidence, my fingers numb as I typed. I asked if she had confronted them, and she replied that she was waiting outside the hotel room, planning to confront her boyfriend when he emerged. I wished her strength and turned off my phone, unable to bear any more revelations that night. Sleep was impossible. I alternated between fits of rage, bouts of nausea, and periods of numb disbelief. I reviewed our entire relationship in my mind, searching for warning signs I might have missed. Had there been other men? Had she ever truly loved me? Was our entire relationship a lie? Every happy memory now felt tainted, every promise hollow. Morning brought no relief, only the harsh reality that my engagement was over. I checked social media and found posts from Jessica and Lauren showing the group at the same club from the video, but carefully angled to not show what Natalie had been doing. There were no posts from Amanda or Natalie herself. I realized with growing anger that at least some of her friends must have known what was happening and helped cover for her. The betrayal extended beyond just Natalie. After the initial shock wore off, something shifted inside me. Instead of falling apart completely, I found myself becoming methodical, calculating. I did not want to confront Natalie immediately. What would be the point? No explanation she could offer would undo what had happened, or make the pain any less devastating. Instead, I began making a plan. First thing Sunday morning, I called my friend Daniel, who happens to be a lawyer, and asked for his advice. While not a family law specialist, he gave me guidance on documenting everything for potentially recouping wedding expenses and how to legally protect myself during the separation process. He offered to come over, but I needed to be alone for what came next. I spent the morning carefully packing all of Natalie's belongings. Clothes, jewelry, books, mementos all went into boxes and suitcases. I worked silently, methodically, each item another twist of the knife, but also a step toward freedom from her betrayal. I called her parents, with whom I had always had a good relationship, and simply said there had been a serious issue between Natalie and me, and I would be dropping off her things at their house later. They sounded confused and concerned, but I avoided explaining further out of respect. They would learn the truth soon enough. Next came the painful process of undoing all our wedding plans. I contacted the venue, the caterer, the florist, and all other vendors to cancel our bookings. Many expressed sympathy when I briefly explained the situation, and some even offered partial refunds despite their cancellation policies. The honeymoon reservations were next flights and hotels in Greece, all undone with a few phone calls. 4 years of building a life together, 16 months of wedding planning, all dismantled in a single morning. With the practical matters addressed, I moved on to financial separation. I transferred my half of our joint account funds to my personal account, leaving her share untouched. I was hurt, but I was not vindictive. I changed the passwords to our shared streaming accounts and other digital services. Then I called a locksmith and had the locks changed on our condo. We had both contributed to the down payment, and untangling the property would take time, but I was not going to be the one to leave immediately. Throughout all of this, my phone remained silent from Natalie until Sunday evening. When she finally called around 6, my heart raced, but I let it go to voicemail. Her message sounded completely normal, cheerful, even saying they were heading to the airport and she would see me soon. Not a hint of guilt or acknowledgement of what she had done. This cemented my decision not to confront her directly. Any woman who could cheat on her fiancé 2 weeks before their wedding and then act like nothing happened was not someone I could reason with. I listened to her message twice, hearing the lies in her cheerful tone, the betrayal in her casual, "I miss you." In that moment I knew with absolute certainty that anything I might say to her would not make her truly understand what she had thrown away. My silence would speak volumes more than any angry words or tearful accusations. By 8 that evening, I had arranged to stay with Jackson for a few days. I packed a bag with essentials, made sure Max had food and water, and prepared for Natalie's return. On the kitchen counter, I placed her engagement ring on top of a printed still image from the video with a simple note that read, "I know everything. Do not contact me." Jackson picked me up and we parked across the street from our condo waiting. At 9:45, a taxi pulled up and Natalie stepped out looking tired but happy from her weekend. I watched as she wheeled her suitcase into the building the last time I would see her as my fiancée. 20 excruciating minutes later, she emerged again, clearly in distress. She was crying, phone pressed to her ear, gesturing frantically as she spoke. Based on her body language, I guessed she was talking to Amanda. My suspicion was confirmed when Amanda's car pulled up 10 minutes later, and Natalie got in, still visibly upset. I felt no satisfaction in her distress, only a hollow confirmation that I had made the right decision. As Jackson drove me to his place, I turned off my phone, knowing the barrage of messages was about to begin. For now, I needed silence and space to begin processing the end of what I had thought would be forever. The next 24 hours brought exactly what I had expected. An absolute deluge of calls, texts, voicemails, emails, and social media messages from Natalie, her friends, and even her family. I maintained my silence, letting the evidence speak for itself. I had sent copies of both videos to my email for safekeeping, knowing they might be needed if anyone questioned my decision. Amanda was the first of her friends to confront me directly, showing up at Jackson's apartment Monday afternoon. Jackson let her in after checking with me, and she launched into a defense of Natalie, claiming I had misunderstood the situation and needed to give her a chance to explain. I silently played the videos for her. Her reaction told me everything I needed to know. She had been aware of what happened. As the color drained from her face, her story changed. She admitted she knew Natalie had been flirting with the man, but claimed she had no idea things had gone so far. She said she did not want to ruin their friendship by intervening. I asked her to leave and not contact me again. Her betrayal stung almost as much as Natalie's, as I had considered her a friend too. Natalie's attempts to explain evolved rapidly over the next few days. Her initial texts claimed it was all a misunderstanding. When I did not respond, she admitted it happened, but said it was a drunk mistake, meaningless, something she deeply regretted. Next came the desperate, pleading promises to do anything to make it right, begging for another chance. When those went unanswered, she tried anger, accusing me of throwing away 4 years over one error in judgment, threatening to fight me for the condo and other assets. Finally, she cycled back to pleading, saying she would go to therapy, give me complete access to her phone, anything to earn back my trust. Throughout it all, I maintained my silence. Each message only reinforced that she was sorry she got caught, not sorry for the betrayal itself. The wider fallout was painful but illuminating. Mutual friends took sides, with most supporting me once they learned what happened. A few suggested I was being too harsh, that everyone makes mistakes. These comments revealed who truly understood the depth of the betrayal and who did not. The news spread through our social circle like wildfire, meaning I had to field uncomfortable questions and sympathetic messages from people who would have been wedding guests in just 2 weeks. My initial embarrassment gradually gave way to resolve. I had done nothing wrong. I had been faithful, loving, and committed. Her choices were a reflection on her character, not mine. The situation reached a breaking point when Natalie appeared at my workplace on Thursday. She created a scene in the lobby, crying and demanding to speak with me. I had my assistant tell her I was in a meeting and had security escort her out. Watching through my office window as she alternated between dramatic tears for the security guards and angry phone calls once she thought no one was watching, confirmed that reconciliation was impossible. The public performance versus private behavior showed me the true nature of the woman I had almost married. That evening marked my lowest point. Alone in Jackson's guest room, I barely ate, hardly slept, and questioned everything. My judgment, my worth, my future all seemed uncertain. How could I have been so wrong about someone I thought I knew completely? If I could not trust my feelings for Natalie, what else in my life was built on false perceptions? Over the next week, Natalie's tactics shifted constantly. The pattern became predictable. Desperate apologies would give way to anger and threats about our shared assets, then circle back to pleading. I maintained my position, communicating only through my lawyer when absolutely necessary regarding the condo and financial matters. The process of legally disentangling our lives was painful, but necessary. We had to divide furniture, return wedding gifts to guests with apologetic notes, and negotiate the sale of our condo. All communications went through our lawyers, keeping everything business-like and impersonal. It was a stark contrast to the loving partnership we had shared just days earlier. My healing process began slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. 2 weeks after discovering Natalie's betrayal on what would have been our wedding day, I started therapy. My therapist helped me understand that my grief was not just for the relationship I lost, but for the future I had imagined. She encouraged me to allow myself to feel the pain rather than suppress it, assuring me that acknowledging the hurt was the first step toward healing. I reconnected with my family, spending weekends in Oregon whenever I could. My parents offered wisdom from their decades together, reminding me that finding the right partner meant finding someone whose character aligned with my values. My brother Ryan became my rock, checking in daily and visiting Chicago frequently to ensure I was not isolating myself. Work became a sanctuary. I threw myself into architectural projects, finding solace in creating beautiful, functional spaces. My clients noticed my increased dedication, and several professional relationships evolved into friendships as they supported me through this difficult time. 3 months after the breakup, the condo sold quickly in a hot market. I used my portion of the proceeds to buy a smaller place in a different neighborhood, wanting a fresh start in a space without memories of Natalie. The day I moved in, Jackson and several friends helped turning the occasion into an impromptu housewarming. For the first time since the breakup, I laughed genuinely and felt a spark of hope for my future. An unexpected support system emerged in the form of a hiking group I joined on a whim. Every Saturday morning, we would explore trails outside the city. The physical exertion helped clear my mind, and the casual camaraderie of fellow hikers provided social connection without the pressure of deep emotional engagement that I was not ready for. In this group, I was just Solomon the architect, who enjoyed outdoors, not Solomon who was left 2 weeks before his wedding. I also reconnected with old friends who had drifted during my relationship with Natalie. Thomas from college, Zach from my first architecture firm, and several others reached out after hearing what happened. These renewed friendships reminded me that my life had been full before Natalie and could be full again. 6 months after the breakup, my firm was hired to design an office complex with extensive green spaces. This project introduced me to Layla, a talented landscape architect whose vision complemented my own. Our professional relationship was collaborative and engaging, and I found myself looking forward to our meetings. After several weeks of working together, she suggested getting coffee outside of work to discuss a book on sustainable design we had both mentioned. That coffee meeting marked my first step toward potentially opening my heart again, though I moved with extreme caution. Layla and I developed a friendship first, both of us recently, out of serious relationships and understanding the need for patience. Her straightforward nature and genuine passion for her work were refreshing, and I appreciated that our connection began with shared professional interests, rather than immediate romantic chemistry. As time passed, I began to see Natalie's betrayal from a different perspective. While still painful, I recognized that discovering her true character before marriage had spared me from an inevitably difficult divorce later. The betrayal, as devastating as it was actually a blessing in disguise. This realization brought a sense of gratitude that slowly began to replace the bitterness I had been carrying. Through mutual friends, I learned that Natalie had accepted a job offer in New York and left Chicago 8 months after our breakup. The news brought unexpected relief, closing the chapter completely and eliminating the possibility of painful chance encounters around the city. The 1-year anniversary of what would have been our wedding day arrived, and instead of dwelling on the loss, I took the day off work and went hiking alone in Michigan near the lake where Natalie and I had spent so many happy weekends. Standing on the shore, I reflected on how far I had come. The man who had been shattered by betrayal had reassembled himself into someone stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. The final step in my healing came when I discovered a box of Natalie's belongings that she had never claimed. Inside were old love letters, small gifts, and photos. As I sorted through them, I expected a flood of pain, but instead felt only a distant compassion for the relationship that had helped shape me but no longer defined me. I donated what I could and discarded the rest, finally freeing myself completely from the past. Looking back on that devastating weekend and its aftermath, I now understand that walking away silently was the most powerful response I could have given. No dramatic confrontation or angry words could have conveyed the depth of my pain and disappointment more effectively than my complete absence. In choosing to protect my dignity rather than engage in futile arguments, I took the first step toward rebuilding my life on my own terms. My relationship with Layla has progressed slowly but meaningfully. We have been dating for 4 months now, approaching our connection with honesty, clear boundaries, and realistic expectations. I am cautious, but no longer paralyzed by fear of betrayal. The experience with Natalie taught me to value transparency above all, and to trust my instincts about people's character. The journey from devastation to rebuilding has taught me that ending a relationship, however painful, is sometimes the greatest act of self-respect possible. It showed me that healing is not linear, but comes in waves, and that with patience, support, and self-compassion, it is possible to find joy again after betrayal. Have you ever had to make a difficult decision to walk away from someone you loved? How did you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories about overcoming life's challenges. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. Your support means everything as I continue sharing these personal experiences with you all.